does get me excited though. Like I hate salespeople. I hate when somebody knocks on this door right here and I'm like, God, I hope they don't see me in this office. I'm not answering the door.
Yeah.
Or I'm out in the driveway with my kids and I just see this van and people circling. Like I know what they're doing. They just came from Keith's house. Now they're making their way over here. I got to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
The reason I don't like it is because I know what likely is coming next, which is a sales pitch and just a very rigid experience for me. I don't like the experience that I know I'm getting ready to have. Just like when you walk onto a car lot and that guy is hyper, and he's walking up to me like, big bug eye and like just ready to get it on. And I'm like, God, I hate this.
Yeah.
But here's what I'll say. What I do love is a great experience. And there's some people out over the airwaves that are sales coaches that are really good, and their approach is different. And the approach, if you approach me like a human, and there's a lot of aspects to this, right? There's how you dress, how you carry yourself. Are you wearing the patented polo and slacks and tennis shoes and carrying a notepad? I'm going to be turned off, right? But there's a lot to the right approach, how you greet me, what you say, how you strike up the conversation. But what I can say is there are some really great experiences that I have with salespeople. It's very minimal because most of the people don't do it right. Much like if you cold call me, there are very few people that I've had a really great experience with on the phone, but the overwhelming majority really suck and I hate it. But like if we could get the world knowing what the right approach is and that it's about the customer's experience with you as a human, that would change the game. So I'm with you that I hate salespeople, but I love great experiences. And there's a strategy there around how do you create a good experience. It's everything I just talked about, like how you dress, how you present yourself. Not that I'll let you get back to your point, but like tying that into what we do with junk removal, like it's one thing that you're showing up at a customer's house that already scheduled an appointment with you. They're expecting your arrival. So it really doesn't matter like if you're a pushy salesman or not, like they already knew you were coming. It matters, but they already knew you were coming. My point is when you're on a phone call or over a text or over a web chat or an email lead and they haven't booked with you yet, how you handle that person's experience makes all of the difference in the world. And what we're used to in the junk removal space is a very pushy, I need to get on site and see what, like the customer wants a price. That's what they want. Just like I want to know what the price for a hair dryer is. So I go to Amazon. And what does Amazon give me? They give me a price for a hair dryer. And by the way, they give me hundreds of options. And they let me click around. And oh, by the way, you might also like this extension cord. Others bought this extension cord. Like, I'm not talking to anybody. I'm figuring this out on my own. And that's what people want. They don't want to feel pressured into something, even though that something may be great for them. They want to find it on their own. That's what's great about Amazon, or you've mentioned Carvana before. Like they've changed the game when it comes to that. In junk removal with Junk Raider, one of our mantras is that we want to give the customer what they want. They want pricing, they want quick service, and they want you to show up and just be good people, be professional, be uniform, don't mess up their home. So that's what we're doing. That number one, though, the price is key. So we believe, and I'll let you've got really great examples and correlations, Ted, about other companies that have done this in the past. But like pricing, giving the customer a price on your website, over the phone, over text, over like why not? Like we understand the value in getting on site and seeing something with your eyes. One, just to have accurate pricing so you don't screw your company over. But two, also have the ability to win the job, up your close rate because you're face to face and it's more difficult for somebody to tell you no when you're face to face. And oh, by the way, potentially see some other items that the customer didn't know you took and you get a higher ticket price because you're on site and you saw that item and said, oh, by the way, we take pianos. And they're like, oh my God, I've been trying to get rid of this thing for years. Take it. We just don't believe in being that type of company, generally speaking. Right?
Yeah, all great points. Let me start by saying I don't feel like there is a right or wrong. Some people disagree because I'm on all these Facebook groups like you, and what got us starting. So, the topic is really, why do we have the model that we have? Why do we price jobs? Why are we willing to price jobs over the phone, via text, on our website? Kind of the load up model in some ways, at least on in terms of the website, the online calculator. But why are we willing to do that when 95% of the competition, especially the big boys, do not? In fact, we see rants all the time on these Facebook groups of people that feel like the way to wreck your business, the fastest way to not make money and ruin your business in junk removal is to provide pricing over the phone or via text or on your website. You need to get them on site. Let me just say, I have tremendous respect for these guys and girls with differing opinions. I don't agree with them, but I do understand where they're coming from. I would present it like this. If 1-800 Got Junk had started, because they're the godfather, if they had started this business in the year 2018, hypothetically, or whenever they started back in, I think it was the 80s, if I'm not mistaken, if they had started and people had smartphones and you had blazing fast internet, I believe they probably would have had a slightly different model. They probably would have had better transparency. They probably would have said, hey, you know what? We're getting on site over and over, and we're noticing that people really, they just want a quick quote. And we don't want to deploy our trucks and have to go all over the place. And we're noticing that a lot of other companies now are adapting to smartphones, and they're giving people what they want. We're noticing that you don't have to have these high pressure sales tactics anymore, right? Because you used to, because you, the salesperson, you're the gatekeeper. You have all the knowledge. Well, then the internet comes along and smartphones come along, and you don't need the salesperson. Now you can self discover. There's the book called The Age of the Customer that everyone should read that gets into this. Amazon has conditioned us to expect not to have that salesperson guiding us through the process. We can do our own research. We can go to YouTube. Anyway, I respect the position of the major competitors and people that disagree, but our model from day one was we want to be transparent. We want to give customers a baseline price. And I would argue, by the way, we close 90%, if not more, of our leads. We almost never have cancellations. I mean, I can't even remember the last time that we've gotten on site, given a price, and not closed that business. And we're close almost every single time. If we give pricing over the phone or via text, I mean, it is probably at this stage, it may be once a month that our guys push back and go, "Hey, by the way, this quote range that you provided was off by 20%." We're normally right on the money, and we're very transparent with our guys, our girls, about how we do all this. So I think that's the other part, is being really good about communication with your internal teams, with how you price, and training to make sure everyone understands how we price. It's volume based. And anyway, I respect the opinions, but I feel like our model is better for today's market, for today's consumer that wants to do everything on their phone. You and I were just talking about this new trend of having home managers, house managers, people that manage all the services for your home. Dude, that was unheard of 20 years ago, 50 years ago, 100 years ago. I mean, maybe those were called butlers. But today, if you need a person or a company to manage all those different services, from lawn care, pest control, pool, trimming your hedges, cleaning your ducts, air conditioning, replacing your light bulbs, if you're a beta male, all those things, you can now hire a company or an individual, a house manager, to do all those services. Amazing. But again, that's only because of the times that we're living in. Everyone wants convenience. And we have found that customers absolutely prefer to have some kind of pricing, whether it is a price range that we're giving over the phone. Hey, describe me those items. Okay. Is everything like furniture? Is it exercise equipment? Meaning, do I know the dimensions? If so, go ahead and describe it over the phone. I can at least give you a price range. Okay. Or if you've got a pile of miscellaneous stuff, take your smartphone, take a picture, text it to me. I can give you a price range within 2 minutes. And by the way, it's going to be the same price range my guys would give you on site, whether I get this picture from you or not, because we do the training. So to me, if you're doing things the right way, there really isn't this big disparity between what you're doing in the office and what your guys are doing on site. The last example I would give is Domino's Pizza is extremely successful. Believe it or not, so is Pizza Hut and Papa John's. They're still very, very successful brands. And yet, is their pizza the best? No. Right here in Mooresville, North Carolina, there is Alino's Pizza. I would put them up against any of them. In fact, I'd put them up against any pizza you're going to have anywhere if you like authentic Italian style pizza. They import all the ingredients from Italy. The ovens that they use, these gigantic clay ovens, were imported one tile at a time. I kid you not, from Italy. Like, this guy is serious. So their pizza is truly superior. Does that mean, though, that simply because they're not doing it the exact same way as Domino's and Pizza Hut, that they're not successful and it's not a great product? No, of course not. It just means it's a different model. So that's always been my position, and I think yours. We have a different model. We're not saying that we're superior. We're saying we think it is a different model that is better from our experience. Our customers absolutely prefer the way we do things. But it's not to say if we flip the script and tomorrow decided, hey, you know what? Everyone is right. All these big boys, they're right. We're going to go and start just getting our guys on site. Could we be successful there? Yes, of course we could. It's just a different model that doesn't resonate with who we are. I don't want my guys to be the used car sales rep that's showing up, that's putting all that pressure on the customer. I don't want to. I don't want to play the games because I don't like the games. I had an electrician company come out here about a year ago, huge company here in Charlotte. And it blew my mind how much like hard sales tactics they were trying to deploy, to the point that I finally had to stop the guy. And I was like, listen, man, respectfully, I appreciate your role in sales. I'm in sales also. But I didn't ask you to come out here to give me a sales pitch on every single electronic in my house and rewiring literally my entire house. That's where this thing went. I was like, I have a single circuit, this one outlet that went bad in my son's room that I need you to replace. That's it. So I would love it if you would just stop with the sales pitch and just tell me how much it's going to cost for that one outlet. That's it. So I have a very visceral reaction when people try to just hard sell me, because I don't want you to do that. I want you to do what I want you to do. That's it. And I feel like that's what we're bringing to the junk removal world, is we're giving customers exactly what they want. No hard sale, no ambiguity. It's what you want.
There's so many places we can go here. But what I would start with is that we don't believe that our model is the only model. I want to make sure people don't think that we're narcissists and guys with big egos. This is just the model that we believe in and want to ride with into the future indefinitely. If you know, and I can hear people now like, oh, you're giving price over the phone. Now you gave them the ammo just to hang up on you, say, I'm going to go call 3 other people and get your price compared against. Yes, they have all the power in the world. And guess what? We encourage them to do that if they don't want to move forward on that call with a booking. Go price shop it around. No hard feelings. Call us back whenever you're ready, or don't. What people, I think, lose sight of is that person, at least in our industry, they're going to call, and I would say this is pretty standard across most home service brands, regardless of junk removal or anything else. They're going to call those other competitors and they are not going to get a price.
Yeah.
And so who are they going to end up going with? Are they going to go with the company that they already know generally what the price point is and so they can be on site the same day and get it taken care of? Or are they going to play, you know, this round robin game with 3 to 4 other companies, having to schedule 3 to 4 different 2 or 4 hour booking windows on probably multiple days to have them come on site and each give quotes and ultimately select one? That's really the game we're playing, is just give me the price. And if you do your job and you talk me through pricing, you're transparent, you tell me how you price, you give me a general idea of what it's going to cost. You make me feel comfortable about your company, that your guys aren't, you know, armed robbers and going to show up at the house and rob me for everything I have. And they're going to be, you know, clean cut and uniformed, and I'll get a receipt at the end of the job and I can pay it, you know, in different ways. Like, if you make me feel good about all that, we are playing the game that customer that decides to hang up and go price shop is likely going to call us back in the future. And we have seen that happen time and time again, where we get a call back and we're not upset that they went and shopped around, by the way. When they call us back and we answer that phone, they're like, hey, I'm Janet. I spoke with you an hour ago. I want to move forward with you guys. And can you still get on site today at, you know, 3 to 5? Yes, Janet. Yes, we can. So but I want to make sure that folks don't think that we're these guys with big egos. You can be successful, and 1-800 Got Junk, as an example, has been successful for many years, and they likely will continue to be successful.
Yeah, of course.
The way that they do things, it's just we believe in. And we clicked record here without doing a proper kickoff, but like you gave so many other great examples of other companies that have innovated in this way over the last 5, 10, 15 years, like Carvana or Amazon or Domino's, and just
Airbnb.
how
Yeah.
easy they've made it. And I will say that it is fairly nuanced based on the industries, but I think
Yeah.
Amazon proves that you can literally sell anything if you just give pricing, have a nice interface. The user experience online is great. You have good support when people actually want to talk to a human. But and I don't think it's any different in junk removal. Um, what I will say before, I think before we clicked record, I was talking about just like what my thought is about salespeople in general,
Yeah.
and no shade to people that are sales reps. I am in sales. I am a sales rep, and I do not like salespeople. I
Yeah.
especially don't like salespeople when you're at my place of residence. Out in public, it's a little different. Like I can bypass you, I'll make up something. No, I'm on a phone call, walking by, whatever, get out of my hair. When I'm at my house, you kind of have me cornered. Like, what am I going to be like? Oh, I'm going. I was
Yeah.
actually just getting ready to go to my friend's house down the street. Like, leave me be, bye. Like, no, you've got me cornered, and I'm already pissed. Because I know what's coming, and I mentioned to you, Ted, like I don't dislike all salespeople. I dislike most experiences that most salespeople give me and every other consumer. They suck, to put it bluntly. Like, not they
Mhm.
suck. The experiences they provide suck. Humans love great experiences. That's why you're seeing an uptick. I mean, partially why you're seeing an uptick around the world, and just companies bringing folks back into offices. They like experiencing the human connection. That's why you're seeing more coffee shops pop up, and people come camp out here. We've got Wi-Fi. It smells good in here. There's people. There's buzz. That's why people like living in big cities. You walk out on the street, you mingle. Dude, I could go sit in an airport all day long and just people watch, right? Like it's just entertaining. We like the experience. What most salespeople have provided is a bad experience. I know that you're going to try to pitch me. You're going to be pushy. You're going to make me feel uncomfortable. And when I see you dressed in your polo and your slacks and the prototypical, outside sales rep, door knocker guy or gal, I'm already turned off. What I can be turned on by is if you approach me differently. And there's a lot that goes into this, and we don't have time to go into the nitty gritty details of the sales model here. But like, if you are going to perform outbound sales, and by the way, we at Junk Raider here do perform outbound sales, just in a different way. We believe in dropping into businesses, making relationships in your local community with real estate agents and other referral partners. Like, yes, outbound sales, 100%. But there's a method to the madness there that ties into our overall mantra of not being the old dirty car salesman. And if you can figure that piece out of how do you approach somebody where it's non-invasive, it's not pushy, it's not, oh my God, here's a telemarketer again, I can smell it from a mile away, and just give somebody a great experience. Even at the end of the day, if you both walk away and you didn't sell them on anything, but you had an amazing conversation, that's valuable to people these days. I want
Yeah.
that. I work from home. I'm in this office. I don't see people much. I see you online, but I don't get that interaction much. I would love to have I like, seeing people that I like talking to out in real world and having a quick 5-minute conversation. If you can figure out how to do that and incorporate that into your business, you're going to win at scale, I think, is really what we're saying.
Well, if you recall when we first started Junk Raider and we were figuring all this out, and part of that was calling the competitors, big and small. What amazed me, and I do this every 3 to 4 months. I still call these guys. What's interesting to me is people that say 1-800 doesn't provide pricing over the phone, and some of the big boys. That's not true. That's not true. If you call them right now and say, "Hey, I'm just trying to get some pricing. I've got a couch and a side chair. I just did it here in our market a few months ago, and they gave me a price. They gave me a price range of what it's likely going to be." Now, if I said, in fact, when I'm done with this call, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to call all the competition, the big boys and a handful of the smaller ones. I'm going to do it again. If I say I've got a bunch of miscellaneous items in my garage, then I'm going to get the pitch about, well, it's difficult to price those jobs. So we just want to have someone stop by. We've got an opening today between 4 and 6, or tomorrow between noon and 2, which works better for you. I get it. We do the same thing. If it's a bunch of miscellaneous items, we tell them something very similar. Listen, when you have a bunch of miscellaneous items, the price is based on volume, because you can't really describe, I've got a pile of junk. That's very subjective. So if you're able to take a picture of that pile and text it to us, we can at least give you a ballpark, a range, and we could be off in either direction, which is why we will not touch anything till we get on site and confirm the price and make sure you're happy with it. If you like the price, we'll take it. If not, it was a free assessment. There's no sales pitch. Now, I've got an opening between 4 and 6. I've got one tomorrow between 2 and 4. Which one works better for you? We do the same thing. The difference is we get them even with that. Even with them sending a picture and giving a range, we get their business 90% of the time. It is so incredibly rare that someone goes, let me think about it. They almost always go, okay. I honestly believe one of the reasons is because we're one of the only ones, they tell us that. We're one of the only ones that give them pricing and are willing to text back and forth. Yes, almost anyone will tell you, if you just have a couch and a side chair, almost anyone will tell you a price for that, including 1-800, including Junk King. In fact, Junk King is a big player. It's all over their website. You can price by the truck, by half a truck. You can do single items. So to me, it's just such a ridiculous conversation in the sense that you both can be successful. Clearly, 1-800 is successful for a reason. They have a model that works really well for them. It's not knocking them. But I will always say that our model of giving customers what they want, being fully transparent, and not wasting their time or ours is extremely invaluable. And it is the way of the future. More and more people prefer and will prefer that model as time goes on, because it's easier. It's transparent. There is no way I'm going to take my car to a mechanic and him go, well, look, I'm not really sure what it's going to cost. We're going to know as soon as we're done, though. Or I tell you what, just bring it up here. Bring it up here. It sounds like you have these issues. Bring it up here, and we'll figure it out. If I have someone that says, okay, got it. You need an oil change, and it sounds like you need your tires rotated. It's going to be, $150. If you give me that kind of transparency over the phone or on your website, I'm going to go there, versus the company that's being really ambiguous and insisting that we bring it up here first. Dude, I don't want to bring it up here until you tell me, what am I likely looking at? What's the range? Oh,
Yeah.
so worst case is this and best case is this. Done. Come on out, or I'll bring it to you. That to
You're,
me is the model that we have really tried to solidify.
you're tying in with that example, the miscellaneous items example of junk removal.
Yeah.
Not to go down the path of psychology, but that's really what it is. When you call somebody, your last step in your own research journey is to pick up the phone and call.
Yeah.
Most folks hate doing that. I want to
Mm-hmm.
do everything I can to avoid picking up the phone. But once they get to that stage, their ultimate goal is getting usually just a couple of things answered, one of which is price. And if they have such a unique job, like, oh, I've got, it's a hoarder house situation, or I've got a bunch of stuff in the garage, but I can't really tell you, like, the dimensions of the garage or how high these items go up the walls, like, we have no clue. What they're still looking for a price. So what you do is you pivot in that scenario where you have zero clue what their job is actually going to cost, and you start talking about pricing, just your general pricing model. In that scenario, I say, Mr. Customer, we really need to get on site in this in this type of job, just based on what you're telling me, because there's so many miscellaneous things that we don't know the size of, and we haven't seen it yet. And it sounds like there's a lot of them, not just a couple of items where I could give you an actual price here over the phone. What I can do is tell you that we start at 95 and we scale up to 595 for an entire dump truck. We've got different pricing tiers in between. Like, for example, our half truck is 300. So you've got a 95, 300, 595 price point, just as a general, picture view. But we'll get on site. There's no pressure at all. If you don't like what price we give you at the end of the day, just send our guys on out. There's no charge at all. Like, it's not a problem. We're happy to, we would prefer to get on site and do that for you free of charge. When they hang up that phone, they at least know, because most folks coming into junk removal, much like your example with cars and stuff, like in mechanical issues and fixes on cars, like, we have no clue as the average human how much a new transmission is going to cost,
Yeah.
or how much it's going to cost to replace whatever, the air pump. Much like junk removal, people have zero clue. And so if you at least give them the range of like, it could be $595 if you fill up our entire truck, they're gonna at least love the fact that you educated them on that. To your point about the cars, you call Joe Schmo's auto mechanic, and he's like, man, I really need to evaluate your car to give you an idea of what it's going to cost to replace the transmission. So I need to see it. But what I can tell you, so I don't waste your time here, is that transmissions, I've never replaced a transmission for less than $3,000. I have
Exactly.
replaced a transmission for as high as $15,000. Right. So there's a range there, Mr. Customer. And all he's doing is letting me know whether I need to go into this place or not to get a firm quote, because that's all I needed was that range. It's just a psychology game. And that's not meaning like a psychology game to play tricks on the customer. It's just in an effort to get them the information that they want. And that's the best thing we can do.
However, if you call the mechanic and you say, hey, my car's making some weird noise, I'm just trying to get a ballpark. Like, what would it cost if I brought it up there and had you take a look at it and fix it for me? Right? That's the same kind of call we get. Hey, I've got a house full of junk. How much would it cost for you guys to come out here and get rid of it? We're doing the same thing. We're going, well, that's a very subjective question you just had. Like, how much is a lot of junk to you versus to me? We have to get on site. So there are times where we are just like 1-800 or just like Junk Lugger. We're saying, no, for that kind of job, we really have to get on site. What if I send you pictures and video? That helps. I could give you a very wide range, but the truth is I'm probably going to be off. We need to get on site, physically move things out of the way. You're describing a whole house clean out. There's probably things in the attic and the closets. We need to get our guys out there. We're in and out 15, 20 minutes, max could be 5 to 10 minutes. But if we call that mechanic and say it's making all kinds of crazy noises, and he goes, oh yeah, listen, man, it could be a variety of things. I need to take a look at it, because who knows what it is. You could have an engine that's going bad. You could have just a bad tire that's kind of rubbing weird and making a funny noise. Bring it up here. We'll take a look at it. Well, that makes all the sense in the world. So again, not saying this is the only way to do it, but I do think that our model appeals to a certain type of person over another. Some people may love the model of other providers where it's all sales. It's hard sales. It's get on site and upsell, upsell, upsell. But if you don't agree with that methodology and you feel like there is a better way and to give the customer what they want and be more transparent, I think that's why we're such a good fit. So it may not be appealing to every single person out there from a business standpoint, meaning as a franchisee, but I think more and more people would go, yeah, that's definitely the softer, more 2024 approach of doing business.
Yeah, that's what I was going to end with is really why did we even decide to come on here and talk about what is our MO? Like, what's our manifesto? What are we doing in junk removal that is likely different than the other brands that folks could go and be a part of? Well, it's that. And it's not just that, but that type of ideology ties into everything else of how we operate the company. I mean, high moral standards. What I was going to say is I'll sum it up as this. We are always, not just you and me, Ted, but our culture, what we've disseminated down to our teams, our call center, our field reps, everybody, is think through the lens of the customer. Don't always do what's best for us as a company. Think through the lens of the customer and get them what they want. Whereas I think it's opposite, not just with junk removal companies, but just really any company in general. There's always a problem with thinking about yourself first before who you're serving, which is a customer. And so I think that's what I would end with is just if you believe in extreme customer service, premium customer service, that's what we're all about here at Junk Raider. Tying into, one main key difference that we're doing in the junk removal space that's different from everybody else is just our complete transparency and belief behind pricing. Get the customer what they want. And there's strategies there and all different types of rabbit holes we can go down. And we touched on a few of them here on this episode, but like that is what it is. And so, again, we made this episode so that folks can really understand what the value is in Junk Raider and why join this junk removal brand versus others that you could potentially, join as well. I mean, some other quick points here before we wrap it up. We have territory available. And I was looking up stats last night, and the junk removal industry is one that it's tough to get your hands on accurate stats. I feel like I'm back in middle school, high school, trying to write a paper, and I don't know what sources to believe. Like, is Wikipedia good or is it bad? But there was something, I forget what the number is. It was somewhere in the hundreds of billions of dollars of revenue in the waste management industry. And that takes many different forms. That's not just junk removal. That's your city trash folks. That's dumpster providers. That's all. They could be lumping in like people that shred documents. Like who knows? It could be tree companies that dispose of debris. It could be a bunch of stuff. But there is a boatload of money in this industry, and the largest junk removal franchise in the world does around, I think I saw like 500 or 600 million in revenue. There's hundreds of billions of dollars passing through this industry, and the largest junk removal company does less than $1 billion. I mean, just wrap your head around that. And I know there's 10, 20, 30. I have no clue how many franchise companies there are that offer a junk removal franchise offering, but I can't imagine that it tallies more than $1 billion in revenue in a market size that's tens of billions, if not hundreds of billions of dollars. So for that reason alone, there is plenty of room for other junk removal companies who do it right and who innovate and who try to stay in front of the customer's wants, like what we're talking about, to come in and carve out a massive niche in the junk removal sector and join an industry that is already massive but continuing to grow. You talk about a recession-proof industry. I don't know that waste is more recession-proof. I don't know that you can get something more recession-proof than waste. Like, we have to create waste. It's just a byproduct of being a human on this earth. So I'll end it with that. Over to you, Ted, for final thoughts.
Yeah, no, I think you summarized it exactly right. We want to appeal to the audience that agrees with us. If you don't, that's okay. There are plenty of other opportunities out there. I've always believed our model was harder in the sense that we're going against the grain. We went against what all the big competitors and the Facebook groups experts were telling in the beginning. We're saying this is the right way to do it. Never give pricing over the phone. Never give pricing via text. Get on site 100% of the time. It's like, I hear you, but I'm not that guy. I don't like that model. And if I, as the customer, before I even got into this business, if I don't like that model, I'm sure there's a lot of customers out there that would agree with me. Like you who are saying that, a lot of you people saying that, you would not want some pushy salesman coming to your house. So I hear you. But again, we appeal to an audience that I think is growing, and I think, in fact, is probably the majority that would say, yeah, I'd prefer that kind of a model. So if that's the case, go to junkradarfranchising.com, check us out, learn more. And if not, again, there's some great opportunities out there with other junk removal providers that I'm sure you could look into as well. That's it. That's all I got.
Perfect. We'll end it there.
All right. See you next time.